Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Come on, we do a little better than that. A little bit better. I promise that this is going to be on the quiz of the exam after. So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. My name is David Bell, Fall 2013 Speak Up Champion. I'm a 21-year-old junior marketing major, and public speaking has benefited me as a student and as a professional in multiple ways. It's given me the confidence to come up and interact and speak in front of an audience such as this. It's given me the courage to network and recruiters, which is so crucial in my type of major. And it's given me the ability to articulate my ideas. Today you'll be hearing from 3 finalists on the topic of crossing borders, communication in a global era. Now let's give it up for those 3 finalists. Before we begin, we'd like to remind everybody that this event would not be possible without the Department of Communication Arts, the faculty and staff, the department chair, Joanne Brown, and of course, the Communication Arts Studios. And a special thanks goes out to Kate Montero for coordinating this event. Our celebrity judges up here in the front row are comprised of majors and past Speak Out participants who will be listening to, like I said, 3 equally talented and ambitious students who have put in countless hours in today's presentation. Celebrity judges, please welcome everybody. All right. Now, our first speaker is an international business major who seeks to tackle the emergence of cyber activism. Please give a round of applause for Barcelo.
The video you just watched is a U.S. military strike on the Free Syrian Army. It was uploaded onto International Business Times in 2013, and several hours later, it found its way on Facebook, where I saw it and proceeded to share it for thousands of people to see. This kind of information is a little bit shocking, but it would have been a lot more shocking 30, 20, 10 years ago when this kind of unfiltered media wasn't directly accessible to the people around in the United States. But as technology has increased and it's spiked up, it's become much easier to access this kind of raw personal media. And new apps and social media that come out every day have been competing to give us more direct and easier access to this information because it's their business to do so. So what's the problem with all this information? There's too much easy access to it and too much easy sharing that it enables the more narcissistic in us to share useless information. Now, this is giving our generation, the millennial generation, a bad reputation because people are referring to us as lazy, narcissistic, the selfie generation, the me, me, me generation, because they believe that this reliance on technology and constant sharing has made us lazy and self-involved. But that's an unfair generalization, because if this kind of technology was available to our parents, to our grandparents, ask yourself, do you think that they wouldn't be posting pictures of them at Woodstock? You really think it wouldn't be a trending hashtag? The issue of a hashtag doesn't just fall on us, we were grown with it. So it's unfair to say that we rely on it. Rather, we've learned to master this cloud of information. Now, with mastering this cloud of information lies the danger. We get comfortable. We can't really sift through all the information, so we digest what's easier. The selfies, the BuzzFeed articles, it's a lot easier to digest that information. So that's where the root of the problem lies. If we're not in control of the information that we're digesting, then we fill up our brain with useless information. if we want to avoid falling victim to this trap, we literally have to control our exposure to the information and properly use the powerful tools that have been given to us. And I say the internet as a powerful tool because it's literally just that. As you're walking down the hall, when you're sitting in class and you turn on your phone, you're instantly accessing a global village. And people in the United States alone, they're making it easier for you to reach that sort of information. You can log on and find any government report from any government agency just by going online. The United Nations offers live streaming and on-demand visuals of all of their conferences and all of their information. And they give it to you through nearly every form of social media. You can literally log on to any form of social media and access all this information. And it's not restricted to just the United States. In the past few years, we've seen this technological spike and social media growth in conflict-stricken countries like the Middle East has seen an exponential growth in social media use. So why is this important to you? Why do you care about social media use in the Middle East? Well, since 2011, nearly a third of the population has increased participation in social media, and that means a third of their population is now in instant communication with us. And that's important because people seeking to use these powerful tools are putting this information out there for us to see. These pictures were taken from the Free Tunisia website. Bakin Al-Blagouj, who ran the Free Tunisian website, says that many people refer to the revolutions that they saw there as the Jasmine Revolt, as the Tunisian Revolution, but the most popular name for the revolution in Tunisia was the Facebook Revolution. And that's because of the role that social media played. Constantly uploading pictures of the aftermath of the fights, death tolls. It was not only giving that information out to the United States and other countries that are able and willing to help, but informing citizens about what's happening to better organize them as a collective body. It's not only limited to war-related issues. Revolutions across Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, Syria, they've all been organizing themselves and updating oppressive videos of their rights. Saudi Arabian woman, Lujain Al-Hathlou, runs a blog called Saudi Women, where she posts pictures, information, constant daily harassment, and infringement on their rights. Even so far as getting arrested for just driving through Saudi Arabia, a basic right that is denied to women there. She's not only reaching out to female activists in Saudi Arabia, she's reaching out to women in the United States that have been inspired by these forms of protest and have gone out to speak against general rights of theirs that have been infringed upon, even in our own country. So these normal citizens are risking arrest, they're risking death, and it's impossible to do by yourself, but they're putting this information out there. And if you need more evidence as the role that social media has played in protests and revolutions, before 2011, the hashtag of the year, I can't even believe I'm saying the words hashtag of the year, were never news related. It was Justin Bieber, was 2010. But starting in 2011, around the time of Arab Spring, where all these revolutions were springing up in the Middle East, top hashtags every single year were news related. Hashtag Egypt. Hashtag January 25th, when the Egyptian Revolution began. Hashtag Ferguson. All of these hashtags have come out and have consistently been the most popular form of Twitter and Instagram social media. And it's because we have now the ability with these hashtags to report using our own eyes. The ability to globalize the events happening around us, and that in essence makes each and every one of us independent journalists. And as independent journalists, it's our responsibility to control the information that we're putting out there and learn how to actually report what's going on around us. And this has seen an emergence in our society of a new term called cyber activism. So what can we do as cyber activists? We can rally support for causes. We can expose corruption in oppressive regimes. We can offer our personal insight on the events that are going on around us daily. And the only way that this works is if we're using the powerful internet and technological tools that we've been given to actually properly report these kinds of things. It's the most effective tool to bring about change because it's direct, it's high speed, it's in your face, and it's constant, and it's nearly impossible to control. So imagine a world where the internet isn't regulated by you. You are sitting there scrolling through endless streams of information, digesting only the simple. Your apathy and your ethnocentrism leads you to not regulate your own information control. That's the world that you would fall into this stereotype of the lazy generation, the self-involved generation. Or imagine a world where the information network that you have around you, you're constantly keeping yourself informed. You're keeping the network of people around you informed. That's the kind of world I want to see. So what can you really do about this? You don't have to delete your Facebook. You don't have to stop posting pictures of yourself on Instagram. It's not that serious. What you can do is make smarter decisions about the people that you follow. Don't follow people that cloud your stream of information with useless content. Avoid clickbait sites like BuzzFeed that try to grab your attention with snazzy titles and it's just trying to fill up ad revenue. Avoid those types of people on websites and spend more time on websites that are conducive to communicating with people around you. Grow your network and learn how to control it so that it's constantly informed and the people around you are constantly informed. And make sure that you always share. Share the information going on around you because just because you might not be able to do something about you doesn't mean that somebody else in your network can't. And just the fact that you know what's going on around you means that you're not exposed to filtered media and forms of media that are regulated and aren't personal. So make sure that you share the information going on around you constantly. So you're provided with this raw media, and it's up to you whether you want to contextualize it or ignore it. And you can ignore it. It doesn't make you any worse of a person, but you're just falling victim to this trap. You are meaningfully connected to people that you can't see, and to lands that you've never been to, might never go to. But they're very, very real. And they're going through some very impressive changes right now, and you've been grown with the tools to affect those changes. So make sure that you control your media network and become a successful cyber activist. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a finance major who will be speaking on how interconnection has led to a more quickly evolving planet. Please give a round of applause for the victor, Naziazeni.
The world is healthier. The world is less violent. The world is more democratic. Good afternoon. I'm here to speak to you today about how modern technology affects us as a society and its impacts in the long term. You see images like those that I just showed you every day in the news and other media outlets, and we're all feeling that the world at all times is on a downward spiral. But the three statements that I said that show that the world is actually better are true and can be supported by data. I would like to now show you some data that is compiled by Professor Max Rosser from Oxford University. And Professor Max Rosser has a project where he is attempting to show that while everyone believes that the world is seemingly spiraling downwards, the data does not apply that. My first statement was that the world is healthier. This graph here illustrates the average global life expectancy for the human population over the past 50 years. In 1960, someone born could expect to live 52.5 years. Over the course of just half a century, we've been able, through modern technology and modern men, is said, to put that up 20 years. Now, the average person born today is expected to live more than 70 years. My second statement was that the world is less violent. This graph here illustrates the total number of deaths due to armed conflict over the past 70 years. Since that spike over on the left, which was World War II, the general trend for deaths due to armed conflict is downwards on recent history. The world is simply more peaceful. My third statement was that the world is more democratic. This graph illustrates the population and, by proportion, the type of political regime that they live under. The two shades of green illustrate democracies. And as you can see, over recent history, there's a larger portion of the planet living under a democratic regime than before. So, I personally could not believe all this data when I encountered it. We're all led to believe the media that the world is very so slowly coming towards its end. But we may very well be living in the greatest period of human history. As part of this event, we were tasked with illustrating how modern technology, specifically communication technology, allows us and our thoughts to cross geographic, cultural, and ideological frontiers. We're more connected than we have ever been before in our history. And I wanted to understand the power that came with that, and the consequences of such interconnectivity. Today, there are 7.3 billion people living on the planet. And almost instantaneously, we can pinpoint and communicate with basically anyone on Earth. I can pick up my phone today and call someone in Hong Kong, Paris, Sydney, São Paulo. I can move thoughts, ideas, assets, even money across thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. The world is simply in the backyard of anyone with an internet connection. And the advantages that come from such connectivity are truly astounding. An individual or a business can take advantage of such a global information network in order to increase productivity. I can give you guys a personal story. I work in the furniture industry, and the level of global interaction that I deal with on a daily basis allows me to truly see how interconnected the world is. A company I work for sells Italian furniture. And I have on my computer a piece of software that allows me to hook up and see live updates on how the process of production of my client's pieces are. I can see live whether it's being produced, if it's been packaged, and if it's already on a container crossing the Atlantic. Additionally, I can get on a collaboration software such as Skype, and I can meet with the manufacturer on another continent and share information, share ideas, no distractions, no miscommunications, just productivity. But technology is so much more than that. Our lives are not just professional lives. We have cultures, we have ideologies, we have perspectives. And through tools such as Facebook, Twitter, even basically any other platform that allows us to communicate in an open manner, lets us share cultural perspectives. I can see what Derek thought of the basketball game last night. I can see what she went to do in Italy last month. And I can't just do that locally. I have access to information to that across the entire planet. I'm faced on a daily basis with cultures, ideologies, and perspectives different than my own. And that's a catalyst for me to mold and assimilate my different perspectives into something new, into a more global perspective. And so with that in mind, I personally believe that modern technology, modern communication technology, at this point in our history, has allowed us to productively and also culturally cross borders and cross different frontiers. But I think that the true gift of modern communication technology is still to come. We're living in basically what might be the birth of this technology. There are companies like Google nowadays that Google is able to, with pretty reasonable accuracy, predict epidemics before they occur simply based on Google searches of individual symptoms. So if someone starts Googling, oh, I have a sneeze, they might actually be able to predict locally a flu epidemic. And this is just the beginning. The true gift of global communications is that we as a species can stop thinking locally and can finally start thinking globally. We can start addressing global problems at the macro level, from truly a global perspective, adjusting farming in order to accommodate different geographical occurrences and help stop hunger. In order to, you see spikes of malaria, you produce different medicines in order to treat that most effectively. And with such information, with such power, we have a responsibility. As a human species, we have the responsibility to understand the state of our planet, to understand the state of our society. Because if we, as humanity, does not, who will? But I'm truly optimistic about what all of this can do, and I'm excited to see the future. Thank you.
Last but definitely not least, we have a stats major who will seek to provide awareness on the right of women's education on a global scale. Please welcome to the stage Krista Shuckerow.
A girl. Not just any girl, though. A girl in the developing world. All 600 million of them. Everyone has rights, according to the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, regardless of their gender, of the fact that they're girls. And one of those rights is the right to an education. What we all have, they can't get. And that kills me inside to think that I might not be able to have what I have today, be able to go to college, just because I'm a girl. A lot of people crossed off as, well, those countries, it's cultural. That's just how girls are. That's just how things are. But it's not. It's a violation of their rights. In countries like Afghanistan, women can't go to school because it's not safe. The literacy rate for men is 51%, while women is only 21%, according to the Afghan Institute of Learning. In 2011, they reported 185 attacks on girls' schools. 185 times people tried to physically prevent people from getting an education. This is Malala. She is a figurehead and an activist for women getting an education. She's from Pakistan. She was shot going to school. Trying to get what we have to be here, someone shot her. That's wrong. And she deserves an education if she thinks it's worth dying for. But if you give a girl an education, you can do so much more than just change her life. You can change the lives of the people around them and the entire country. I'm going to explain this graph real quick. Every bubble is a country. And on the bottom, we have how educated the women in these countries are. And on the top axis, we have how many children they have. And we normally find that when women are more educated, there are less children, lower population growth, and children are expensive to take care of. So when they have less children, people are normally better off, have more money. And we also find that when women have more education, those children are healthier. When you have a low level of education, less than a year, for a woman, you can have children that are higher up on the level of malnutrition, which I have on the side here, how nourished they are. And that's not just the children, but it's the entire country. That on the side here, I have how sanitized the country is, so how healthy are people? And when women have more education, you just see that the entire country is healthier. The Knight Foundation calls this the girl effect. And they've done research to find that if you give a girl an education, and she takes that education, gets a job, earns income, she'll give 85% of her income back to the family, to take care of the children, to give them an education, send them to school, feed them properly. But if you give a boy that same education, they'll only give back 35%. So if you teach a girl, the entire family, people are just healthier. This is Anita. And she wanted to go to college very, very badly. She had to go on a hunger strike to let her parents get an education. And she became the first one in her entire family to get a college education. Anita started her own business, and now Anita pays for her family's retirement, for her family's health care, for everything. And we can make more people just like that. So right now, I want you to take out your smartphones and download this app called Charity Miles. It's absolutely free, and every time you go for a walk, and I know you all walk a lot, we have a big campus, it takes a lot of time, you click on She's the First, and they'll donate 10 cents for every mile you walk or run, and for every mile that you bike. For free, you can help a girl get an education. You can help a girl solve all those problems that we saw earlier for just walking that you're already doing. When I was little, I would always tell my dad that I wanted to change the world, that I wanted to help people. And he told me this proverb, that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. So today, all I'm asking is that you help me teach a girl. Thank you.
Our judges have deliberated. A round of applause for them. And I have the results on the sticky note. So a little drum roll. In third place for Spring 2015 Speak Off, can you please give a round of applause for Derek Barcelo. Goes to Krista Shuckerow. I wish I could add more suspense to it. But first place for the Spring 2015 Speak Off and the champion, if we want to say, Victor Naziazeni. Just one final applause, please, for all of our finalists.